Hey everybody, happy American Thanksgiving to all my American friends. And today's episode we're going to do a rabbit pie. Now, why rabbit pie? Well, my grandmother used to make pies like this during New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, any special occasion she used to make a rabbit pie. And my grandfather used to go out, snare a few, she'd make pies with them. It's an important reminder that we're all in a survival game, and just because you don't have a huge turkey or you can't have a whole bunch of people together doesn't mean you can't celebrate and be thankful. Try something different. It's tasty. I think you'll like it. Anyways, let's go.
And on today's episode, we're going to do my grandmother's rabbit pie. So first, we're going to need 1 onion chopped up fairly coarsely. We're going to need some dried savory, which is an essential ingredient for Acadian cooking. We're also going to need about 225 grams of slab bacon. Now with this, we're going to cut it into large cubes. So cut it along the length, and then we're going to cut it crosswise. We'll have big cubes of bacon. Now we're also going to need 450 grams of pork shoulder, which we're also going to cut into large pieces. Now since rabbit is a very lean meat, you need both the bacon and the pork. Fat is flavor, and this is an essential. We're also going to need 1 large rabbit. Now this was a frozen one that I let thaw out. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into large pieces, 6 to 8 of them. You cut the forelegs, the back legs, and the middle part, which is known as the saddle. And then you cut them all in half, and that should give you 6 to 8 pieces. So now, on to the cooking. We're going to take our bacon, and we're going to fry it on medium heat in a large pan that's big enough to accommodate all the meat we have. Once the bacon is brown, what we're going to do is we're going to take a slotted spoon, and we're going to remove all the bacon, but we're going to leave the fat behind. We're going to do this because we're going to cook the next component in the bacon fat. We take our chopped up pork shoulder, and we're going to brown it in that fat. And once it's browned, we're going to add our onions to the mix, make sure everything gets in there. We're going to stir it up and make sure everything cooks out evenly. After this, what we're going to do is we're going to add those large pieces of rabbit in, and then we're also going to add the fried up bacon into the pan as well. We're going to cover it with water or stock and cook it for 90 minutes covered.
And now we're going to check on our rabbit. Oh, that looks real good.
Once that's done, we remove all our meat with a slotted spoon. Then we add our dried savory to the liquid, and we're going to reduce it down by about half. You could also add spices to the mix, such as a 1/4 teaspoon of clove, which is what I'm doing, but coriander works well. Let our meat cool down until it's good enough to handle. Then we remove all the meat from the bones. Notice how it comes apart very easily. The rabbit comes apart like this. The pork comes apart quite easily. Then, once the liquid is reduced, we put a strainer over the meat and we pour in all that liquid to return the fat and all the flavor into the meat. And then from this point, you can cover it and get ready to fill. Now, Grandma was from northern New Brunswick, and they always added potatoes to their fillings. So here's a simple optional step. You just take 2 potatoes, chop them, peel them, boil them, and then you add it to the filling. This works as a bit of a binder and a bit of a filler, and it adds an additional taste. You don't have to do it, but it's well worth trying. Anyways, let's make the assembled pie. We're going to need 250 ml of hot water, 180 grams of fat, lard or butter, and 500 grams of flour. Mix it together and you have a hot water pastry. You fill the pie. For a cover, we make a hole in the middle, cover it, press into the corners, bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 35 minutes until it's brown around the edges. And since this is a hot water variation, the crust itself will stand up and you can make pretty tall pies with it. Now you don't have to make a big pie, you can make lots of little ones. Grandma used to do that as well. She called them les petits cochons, or little pigs. But they're just a smaller variation of the same pie we did before. The crust is nice and crispy, and the filling is smoky, a little fatty, and you get the nice flavor of the rabbit. Lean, simple. It's a really good treat. Anyways, it's a little variation, something different that you can do during Thanksgiving, and it tastes great. Have a great week, everybody.